This is BankCents, the podcast that makes sense of all things banking. If there's something you don't understand about banking or finances, you're not alone. Our industry experts are bringing you informative and enjoyable conversations that break down bank jargon and dive into hot-button financial topics. And now, BOS, a community bank located across Illinois and Missouri, presents BankCents. Here's your host, Gregory Marantz.
Hello, and welcome back to the BankCents podcast, the podcast that makes sense of all things banking. I'm your host, Greg Marantz, Executive Vice President here at the Bank of Springfield. And today I'm excited to have on Brian Anderson, Branch Manager at our Wabash location, to talk about the in-branch experience and what to expect when you come to the bank. Brian, welcome.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Before we dive into our topic, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what your day-to-day duties are here at the bank.
Yeah, sure. So banking's fairly new to me. Actually, 7 years ago, I came into the bank, 2017. Came in as a business development officer and leveraged some of my contacts that I've had here in Springfield. And then I came into the branch manager role September of 2020, and I've been there since.
All right, great. And one of the things you are doing is you're managing our frontline staff, the first people that people see when they come into any branch location for that matter. So we have a branch manager at all of our locations. So
Sure.
Today we're going to just dive into what you can really expect when you come in those front doors, because when you come into a bank, it can be a very intimidating experience. And our goal today is to help you be a little more prepared. So when you do come into the bank, you know the right questions to ask, know what to expect, and maybe you're just a little bit less intimidated, so we can help you along in your financial journey. So first, we're going to just dive in. Just give us a few tips and a few things somebody might come into the branch for, a few of our different products.
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of options that we provide here at BOS, and obviously along with other banks as well. Obviously, deposit accounts probably would be the biggest. There's obviously loans, there's retirement accounts, there's investments, there's insurance needs. We can provide all of that here at the bank. So really, in my shoes, if they came into the bank, there's a lot of different ways that they would need help. And really, my first instance is welcoming them here and then saying, how can we help you today? Most people do know what they need, but if they don't, I can point them in the right direction.
Yeah, and that's, I think, one of the things is when you come into a bank too, whoever might greet you there, whether it's a teller or a personal banker, they can guide you wherever you need to go. If you're coming in for a loan, and when you come in that day, I mean, you can, if you want to open checking accounts, you can do that day. If you want to apply for a loan, you can do that same day. And so all those different products, they're right there at your fingertips, and our frontline staff can help you.
They are. We're trained across the board. If that's an application for a loan, if it's a deposited account, we're gonna ask the right questions. And if that day there's something that you still need to bring into the bank, we'll obviously be able to do that at your pace and to make you feel comfortable as possible.
Yeah, and another tip too is if you're not comfortable just walking into a branch, just kind of blindly, then you can call ahead and you can schedule an appointment with a banker or with a teller or a lender or something of that matter.
Absolutely.
As well.
Utilizing our online banking on bankwithbos.com, there's ways you can actually make appointments there, and those shoot directly to myself, my staff, the teller line, the drive-through, anything that would make your needs successful for that transaction, we can have you covered.
Okay, so you're coming to the branch, let's just use the example of you're going to open up a new checking account or new savings account. What are some typical documents that you might need to think about bringing with you to the branch when you come to open those accounts up?
Sure. Social Security number is going to be a large one there. Some type of picture ID, driver's license preferred. And then if you've moved around or say you bought a new home, proof of address would be a big piece of just any kind of mail. It would be a utility bill. It could be a tax bill. It could be anything that's not produced by you. Bring in those items, and that would be sufficient.
Yeah, and it might be obvious to some people, but why do you need some of that information? So this is like driver's license.
Sure.
Why would the bank need that?
As you can expect, there's obviously names there's many names that you could actually, we would have here in the database. When you come into the bank, you're providing that information, so then whenever you do revisit, we can make sure it's you and only you, So therefore, your information is very, very well protected.
Yeah, and I think that leads into a lot of the other topics we've talked about on the podcast before, is with identity fraud and everything. We want to make sure you are who you are. 100%. And more importantly, know who you aren't.
100%.
And so we can identify that and then make sure that we're doing the transactions on the right account, as well as verifying with the right person and giving out, and make sure we're keeping that information confidential as well.
That's right.
So can you give us some other tips about when you're coming in to open these accounts, what are some typical questions and what kind of plan should a customer have when they're coming in to open these accounts?
A plan would help the situation, but I don't think anyone should be intimidated in saying, God, I don't know what to do. Come in, lean on us. We're the professionals. We do it day in and day out. If it's a loan, come in. We're going to talk about all the scenarios, all the different products. If you've got your first mortgage here, we can look at a home equity loan. If you need a personal loan, then we can obviously walk through those scenarios. If it's a simple an account, there's interest-bearing accounts, there's savings accounts, there's checking accounts. There's so many different products to where we're in the business of helping the community, and that's what that's top priority for us.
Yeah, I think that brings up a really good point. It's important to have an idea of what you want,
yes,
but also to be open-minded, because our bankers are incredibly
100%.
well trained, and they'll steer you towards the right product that's right for you at that time, and that might change over time as well.
That's
whether
right.
it be on the deposit accounts, and you might need to open a savings account after a while to start saving for your future, or for a down payment on a house or things like that. So to keep an open mind and keep an
Right.
idea of what your goals are financially.
And I think that's a big thing about community banking, is that if you have an idea or a way you want to save money, there's a really good chance we have a product that we could possibly customize to fit your needs.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing, is we have just such a vast array of products.
100%.
And that's one thing that for our listeners, keep an eye out for. We're going to later have a episode on the digital banking experience as well, because obviously having the bank on your phone or on your computer can be a huge benefit as well to you as a customer and help you on your financial journey. So just to quickly recap what we kind of talked about today is, when you come to the bank, we have a vast array of products. So have a general idea of what products you're looking at and what you're interested in, whether that's just a simple checking account, or maybe you're looking at a home mortgage or a home equity line or something like that.
That's right.
So have an idea of that. Bring in those essential documents, driver's license, know your social security number, proof of address.
That's right.
If I miss any, please let me know. But bring that information in, and then just
Absolutely.
don't be afraid to ask that question, and let us
100%.
help you, guide you on that journey. Brian, I really want to take the time to thank you for coming on the podcast today. Do you have anything else or any other tips that you'd like to give our listeners about just the in-branch experience and anything you can provide to them to help their experience, go smoother or educate them a little bit?
Sure. I know you alluded to at the beginning of the podcast. Intimidation is a big thing, and I think coming to a bank, don't feel like you shouldn't be intimidated, because there's a lot of different products. I've been able to work with them day in and day out, so I know most of them, if not all of them. But as a new banking customer, come in, lean on us, and we will get you taken care of. If that's a teller line, if it's the banking, the personal bankers, or really here, obviously at our location, there's a lot of different loans and even on the commercial side, insurance side, investment side. You have a question, come in, I'm happy to facilitate for it.
Yeah, and I think that's one reoccurring theme that we have on the podcast is that there really isn't a stupid question.
There's not.
So don't be afraid to ask that extra question, because it's really going to help you in the long term on your financial journey and get you to those goals. If you want to buy a house, whatever your goal might be, everyone's goals are different, but we can help you succeed to achieve those goals.
That's right.
And so don't be afraid to ask that question. Our bankers work with customers every day.
Right.
Almost every hour of every day, they're working with somebody and they're helping guide those people. So your situation might be a little bit unique, but they've probably dealt with a very similar situation before. So
Absolutely.
lean on that experience.
I think that's a good point. Everything is unique, but there is a rhyme or reason for getting to a result.
Brian, thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and share these experiences with our listeners.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to BankCents, the podcast that makes sense of all things banking. Until next time.
Is there something about banking that doesn't make sense to you? Submit your questions to us on Instagram Messenger or by email, bankcents@bankwithbos.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, comment below. We're happy to give you our 2 cents on a wide range of topics. Thank you for listening on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please leave us a 5-star rating and review so we can continue to bring you more educational content. Thank you for listening, and we hope you join us on the next episode of BankCents.